I've played many characters, from complicated souls to lost men, but the role that has grown me the most is the role of a husband and a father. Jamie Dornan emotionally shared at the career ceremony in London last night. In the sparkling lights of the Royal Theatre, where the famous names of European cinema gathered, Jamie Dornan surprisingly devoted his speech not to talking about acting, but to paying tribute to the women who have shaped his life: his wife, Amelia Warner, and 3 young daughters. "If I had a superpower, it would be being a father to those 3 angels, and the man Amelia always trusted. Without them, today's Jamie Dornan would just be a lonely shadow behind the lights." Before the dust settled, Jamie brought the room to a boil by revealing that it was Amelia who wrote the first lullaby for her eldest daughter, on a night when he was filming in Iceland, amidst snow and homesickness. "I heard that song on my satellite phone, in the middle of the frozen desert. And I knew I had to go home. Not because the movie was bad or because I missed home cooking, but because I was afraid she would grow up without knowing her father's voice." Jamie ended his tribute by kneeling and pulling from his pocket a faded handwritten letter, what he called his life speech, dedicated to the 4 most important women in my life. He read, "Amelia, you are the one who writes the music to my heart, not with notes, but with unconditional love. And you, Dulcie, Elva, Alberta, if I could play any role in life, I would choose to be the guardian of your childhood." No script, no director. That night, Jamie Dornan made the whole world admit one thing: his best role was not Christian Grey, but the role of a father, a husband, very real, very real. In the audience, Amelia Warner quietly wiped away her tears, her gentle smile clearly visible in the midst of the halo scene. She did not speak, but her eyes said it all: lasting, silent love, never demanding the spotlight. Jamie walked down the stage, not straight to the backstage as usual, but turned to the front row, where his wife and children were sitting. He lifted his youngest daughter Alberta, holding her in his arms like a sweet trophy of his life, then kissed Amelia on the forehead, right under the astonished gaze of the international media. That photo, Jamie Dornan kissing his wife among his 3 daughters, one arm hugging, one hand holding, was called "The Frame of a Loyal Life" by The Guardian. In an interview after the award ceremony, Jamie added, "I'm not a perfect husband. There were days when I filmed for 16 hours straight, days when I was so immersed in my role that I forgot my daughter's birthday. But what makes me know I'm doing the right thing is that every time I come home, my 3 kids still run out, and Amelia is still there, not angry, just gently opening the door." He paused for a few seconds and smiled. "In Hollywood, people often ask me, how do you keep your family in the middle of your career? I don't. They keep me grounded in reality, in kindness, in the character of a father." The story of Jamie Dornan is not just a journey from model to film. It is a quiet epic of a man who dares to step out of glamorous roles, to live out his true role, which never ends: being a husband, being a father, being a support. The next morning, social media was flooded with images of Jamie Dornan holding his little girl, holding Amelia's hand as he walked out of the Royal Opera House. The hashtag Jamie Dornan Family Man climbed straight to the top of trending in the UK, US and Ireland, not because of a new role, but because of a real-life love song that touched the hearts of the public. In an exclusive interview with Vanity Fair released the next day, Jamie recounted his own journey for the first time, from a man who lost his mother at the age of 16, to an imperfect husband, and then to a father of 3 little princesses. "My mother died of pancreatic cancer when I was still a boy who didn't fully understand the meaning of separation. Since then, I have always longed for a complete home, something I couldn't keep for myself when I was young. And then Amelia came into my life, like a gentle low note in a chaotic symphony." He paused, his eyes shining with emotion. "Amelia is more than just a wife. She is an anchor in the storm. When I was haunted by dark roles, she was the one who reminded me that I was not Christian Grey, not the broken man in The Fall. I was Jamie, my husband, my father, part of something very real and very beautiful." Jamie spoke of each of his daughters with rare affection. Dulcie, who taught me to say sorry when I was wrong. Elva, who taught me that a child's curiosity is more valuable than any film award. Alberta, my youngest, the reason I learned to change a diaper with one hand while on a Zoom call with my director. At the end of the interview, Jamie looked straight into the camera and sent a message that melted millions of hearts. Hollywood may have given me fame, but Amelia and the kids gave me the true meaning of life. A role ends with applause. But a father, a husband, never has a curtain call. Jamie Dornan has just taught the world that, with humility, sincerity and unconditional love. A few days after the ceremony, amid the news, the compliments, and the thousands of touching comments from fans, a handwritten letter was shared by Jamie himself on his personal Instagram, simple, written in blue ink, on pale yellow paper. In the bottom corner was the familiar signature, Amelia. The letter read, "My Jamie. That night, you brought the whole audience to their feet. But for me, the most wonderful thing was not the speech, but the way you looked at me and the children as if we were the greatest award you had ever received. I was in love with a tall, handsome man, sought after by the whole world. But I chose to stay because you were the only one who texted me want a cup of tea? In the middle of filming in cold Iceland, knowing I was awake watching the children in London. I remember the time you were embarrassed to braid Elva's hair, and it took you exactly 47 minutes, only for her to say, 'No, do it again, it's wrong.' I remember Dulcie asking you, 'Are you as famous as Harry Styles?' And you said, 'No, but you're famous enough to mom and the kids.' Alberta can't talk yet, but every time she smiles at you, I know, you're doing better than any role. Jamie. People say I'm Christian Grey's wife, but the truth is, you're the sweet love song I wrote when I was younger. Thank you for choosing us when there are hundreds of more exciting scripts out there. Thank you for quietly living the right life, in a noisy world. We're not a perfect family, but we're home, and that's enough for me. Love. Amelia." A week after the award ceremony, Jamie Dornan was spotted cycling around Hampstead Heath, no bodyguards, no sunglasses, just an old woolly hat, and behind him were his two daughters carrying unicorn backpacks, chattering. "Daddy, if I wanted to be an actor, would you?" "I would, if you let me be your script keeper." Elva laughed heartily, and Dulcie pretended to be serious. "No, you're just my driver." Jamie laughed, the kind of laugh that no director could have asked him to recreate. No red carpet, no flash, just a father living his best life. Amelia stood not far away, holding a film camera, gently clicking a frame, where the afternoon light fell on her husband's hair, and the three of them walked away, shrinking into the lush green grass like a painting. She didn't call them back, just looked, smiling peacefully. That photo was later printed by Amelia, placed in a small wooden frame, engraved with the words, "The real Jamie Dornan," in his favorite role. A few years later, when Jamie took on the role of a widowed father in an independent film, many people praised it as his most emotional role. But at a press conference, he shook his head slightly. "No, I've already had the most emotional role of my life. Every night before going to sleep, when I turn off the lights and listen to the breathing of my wife and children, I know, no role needs tears, because my heart is full." Jamie Dornan, the man who didn't act when he said "I love my family." And sometimes, that's the most real thing in a world of simulations.